Introduction. I'd like to invite Graham up to the front, and I wonder if you could give him a big round of applause as I chat to him for the next few minutes. Graham's had effectively two careers. I don't know that he would say this, but he's a very young-looking 60-something-ish roundabout there. Leads a busy, productive life. He's in Joburg and Cape Town most weeks, involved with his coaching, but I'm jumping ahead. Would you mind telling us about the two careers that you've had, Graham?
Okay, I got into corporate world when I was just straight out of university. Joined Unilever, and then spent the rest of the years climbing up the corporate ladder. So I started in manufacturing, running factories, then moved across to the commercial division, and I headed up Africa purchasing, so everything from Cape to Cairo for Unilever. And then on to mergers and acquisitions, Steve. The Robertson's Best Foods Unilever merge is probably the most well-known of them. So a very busy career. And then God
Could I just pause you there? That Robertson's merger was the last big project you did in Unilever. What was the rand value of that merger?
Each of the organizations was 1.5 billion in the year 2000. So a total combined 3 billion rand project.
Brilliant. Sorry, and then you were going to say how you went from that into your next career.
And then into the career I'm in right now. So God gave me a word, a prophetic word, and he said, Graham, I'm going to allow you to be successful in what you're doing, to achieve the goals that you've set, and then I'm going to set goals for you. I'm going to, and so I spent a lot of the last couple of years at Unilever trying to figure out what those goals were, Steve. And then one day, the career at Unilever came to an end, and God put me into the coaching career that I'm in right now. I didn't even know the word coaching. God led me through a series of wonderful instances into what is now coaching and pouring back into people's lives.
And it's executive coaching in specific. So you're going around to the executives of different companies, sitting with them, coaching from one to half a dozen guys in a particular, and girls.
Guys and girls. I must remember that. In business today, there are lots of ladies, Eric. And so it does bring a measure of complexity to the work I do, but it really is fun working in these environments and working at an exec level. And Steve's right. I probably spend, I suppose, every second week up in Johannesburg working with teams there as well.
And Graham, these men and ladies that you're coaching, I'm guessing their lives are pretty complex. What are the biggest challenges that are coming up over and over again with business people as you're talking to them?
So when we coach, what we do is we ask people to set goals. And they can be personal development goals. It can be goals related to business. But the one overriding thing that comes through so much is, Graham, help me with work-life balance. I'm just on this treadmill. I'm treading fast. I'm running hard. How do I make sense of what I know is right? So the interesting thing is when I ask people about what their values are, they always say family is number one. And then I look at them working through to 8, 9, 10 at night and Saturdays, and you think, well, family can't, they'd like it to be number one, but it's not working out. There's something inside there that's driving them. The other one is for ladies. Ladies have an added burden that I see, and that is they're on the treadmill, but they have a mother heart. And so they always say to me, Graham, what about my kids? How do I balance this thing?
Graham, I remember a story that you told me about yourself, which had a massive impact on me, about the time when you that treadmill over-revved and you suffered a kind of a burnout. Would you mind describing that period of your life?
Sure, Steve, I'll do that. When I was traveling up into Africa, running the Africa group, I would be in Joburg once a week, sometimes twice a week. I'd be in Africa once a month, and in Europe certainly every second month. And I actually quite enjoyed it. Unilever didn't demand it, but I was pushing myself to achieve and be successful. And one day on an aeroplane, Steve, I was sitting at OR Tambo. I was in the plane, and those of you who know I love flying. I just felt a panic grip my soul. And I wanted to just jump off this plane. Anyway, I calmed myself down. I didn't jump off the plane. But I went to see the doctor the next day. And he said to me, you know, Graham, you're not burning out. You're not about to burn out. Boy, you are fried. You are done. You're cooked. And so I was put on antidepressants for 18 months while I tried to work my way out of the hole. And you know, the thing is, I'm not a bad person. I loved my family, but I was looking to fill a hole in my soul. You know, I needed recognition. And so I was looking for immediate success. When you invest in relationships, that's really long term. And so the immediate success came from work. I'm ashamed to say that's where I put my time and my effort, Steve. And it led to me burning out. God slowed me down and had to stop me.
I remember you saying at that time you'd sometimes sneak out of the office and just go and lie down in the car for an hour just to get away, kind of get the strength to go back in and work again, right at the bottom end of your dip.
Yeah, so you know, when you're in that space, you really are tired. And I remember going in Durban in the parking lot, and I forget which, I think we're in one of the buildings, going into the parking at 11 o'clock, getting in my car, locking the door, and going to sleep for 2 hours just to try and recover and recuperate, and then head back into the office like nothing had happened.
These two words that we look at this morning, success and significance, how would you define them?
That's quite interesting. I always refer to my coaches when they talk about their lives. I say, you know, you're playing for the long game. And so I say, what would you like your obituary to look like? What would you write? And you know, that really galvanizes people because there's the successes we want, the things, versus the influence on people. And so when you write an obituary, you say, it's about the people I impacted. It's about the family. It's all those good things. Nobody really says, please remember my Ferrari on their obituary. And so I look at it like this. Success is the things you work and get, the titles, the house, the car, all those things. Significance is what you've put into other people's lives. So the investment into people, and that's what you'd like to be remembered by. The two are not mutually exclusive. So significance does bring meaning to your success, Steve.
Final question. How do you, I'll exclude Denise from this, how do you simplify? Because you're still you're leading a busy life. How do you simplify?
There are two things I do to simplify. And the one thing coming from my Unilever career into my coaching career was God said, I will set a purpose for you. So the first thing for me to simplify, Steve, is to keep reminding myself of the purpose that God now has for me. I'm not being driven by the hole in my soul. I've gone back to God's purpose, but you know, I'm weak. And so I tend to hop on the treadmill. You know, it's just who I am. And so I put into my diary intentionally space and time, and then I've got a great wife who manages the process and keeps me on the straight and narrow.
Brilliant. Could we give him another big round of applause? Thanks so much, Graham, for your time.
Pleasure, Steve.